Hi there, it's Belinda from Bolde Learning, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to create visually appealing screens for your online e-learning programs by pointing out a few graphic design skills and tips and tricks that will help you create a nice, clean, uniform, aesthetic layout for your online learning. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be walking you through a couple of UI layouts that I would use for an articulate storyline build, but really this could be suitable for Captivate, Storyline, even PowerPoint or Canva if you're creating any UI for an interactive e-learning, then hopefully you find these tips useful. So the first thing that I start with is a cover title. So it's going to have its own start button. Now in these authoring tools, you can have a player that, you can use the player for all of these interactivities. Let's pretend we're not going to use that at all and we're just going to be using a customized interface. That's how I'm approaching this. So this is going to be part of our corporate Blues template theme, which is going to be available on our website that you can purchase and download to have your own storyline available, ready to go. But this is how I would approach that. So first of all, I'm picking a theme, corporate, very common to use a blue sort of a theme. So I've picked a set of color swatches that I'm going to be using consistently on each. And then I have this font, which is Inter. So Inter is quite a very easily accessible font. You can download it from Google Fonts, and it is one of the default fonts that we see in the Articulate suite. And then we're starting with just a really simple basic start button. Now what I'll do is I'll just be mindful of the look and feel of this button because I want that button to be consistent throughout. So it's got the curved round edges and it has capital letters in bold. So that is our cover slide. So then we go down to our welcome slide. So I've got a graphic here which I have cut out this character. She could animate in. These could also animate in with this graphic as well. We've seen it on the very first slide. And then there will be a section here to replace with your own logo, the welcome, and then the text. And then I have visual anchors here to let the learner know that this is in regards to the time duration, and then this is in regards to any multimedia aspects. I've now introduced some UI elements here, being the next button and the previous buttons. So they will be consistent on the master page in the template and they will be seen on every slide. Moving down to the menu. So this is a customized menu. So each of the topic names, I'm going with 4 for this, but some have more than that. And you'll notice that they each have a lock symbol on here. So this lock symbol will activate once they finish a topic. So at the end of, say, topic 1, on the very last slide, I will have a trigger saying topic 1 is completed or is true, value is true. And then this will now be activated when topic 1 value is true. This will be activated when topic 2 value is true, and so on and so forth. Now, the next thing I would probably do is once a topic is completed, I would have a circle here with a little tick just to show that when they come back to here, they've completed previous topics. Again, we have the same interface down the bottom. The logo has been moved here and that will be consistent on every slide. And up the top, we have our navigation menu. So we have the home, which will be this slide, the help menu, which I'll show you shortly, and then save and exit. So that will save the current, progress of where they're at in the e-learning course, and then it will close it. So it will actually exit the course. So then I'll go down here to just a basic slide layout. It's great for an introduction slide with the title and text and then a graphic. So I'm going with circular or very intentional. Again, it's corporate, that can be replaced. And then again, this is consistent, part of the master slides. And this graphic here. And then again, they could be moving, they could be animated, you can do some cool things with that. Now over here is the help pop-up, I guess you could say. So whenever they click on help, this will overlay over what they're actually currently looking at, because there's a close button there so they can get out of it. So the first thing that will pop up is the navigation bar, educating them that this is where you can access home, help, save and exit. This is what you're going to press to go back. This is for next. So again, very simple. This isn't a very complex menu, but sometimes just knowing that there is a help tool there that will educate them on how to actually navigate through the e-learning is really helpful. And now I'll go down here. I've created a hotspot layout. Again, we're looking at similar colors and themes on each and every slide. So these hotspots, these could pulse, they could use an emphasis animation in there, or it could teeter, or it could tilt, it could pulse, it could do a lot of different things. When I hover over it, maybe the color changes to like a hot pink and black or yellow or whatever's in the color theme. Again, that'll be editable within Storyline. When you click on one of these, then this pops up. So the back area will be darkened. There's an overlay there. Then we have our hotspot title box here. Again, we can close, and you could even extend this out, you know, and have an image there as well. If it's about a specific point, then an image can support that. Moving on from the hotspot, we have a basic column text screen. So again, title and just 2 columns of text. Really nice and simple. Those slides are really great to break up interactive slides. Then we're coming down to something more interactive, which is a flip card. So this is where the front of the card will look like this, and then the back of the card will have, I've just done basic text for this, but again, you could have an icon, you could have a graphic, an image, an overlay. Really, all of those things are very customizable. This is purely just to get started in the template. So you've got your introduction up here. And then I have an icon here, which is educating the learner that, hey, flip me over. And then on the back, we have it here as well, so they can flip back. What I would do is probably have these animate in, so they fly up. And then when they click on the next one, it goes back. And again, you could even have the tick here to show that it's been completed, and maybe you could deactivate the next arrow here until each of the flip cards are visited, and then it activates. So that could be another function that you apply. Another flip to reveal or click to reveal slide here. So again, introduction, and then each of these are your text. It's got a title and information on there, and they will have this like what we saw in the hotspot. Again, consistency. We're looking at the same icons being used, the same system. Once this is clicked, this pop-up will come up again, and again, imagery, text, you know, whatever to support the content that's on display. And then once it's completed, this will appear, and again, you can disable this next button. Another really cool interactive layout that I usually do is a timeline. So it kind of works like your click to reveal. So again, each of these, as you hover over them, they could enlarge, or they could pulse, or they could teeter. Like there's a few different animations that you could do with that. But essentially this is the screen of what it would look like. This will come up and probably be animated in, the text would fade in, and then this might animate across, and that text will support what's happening here, and then this would then change to the tick that we saw previously. You could have a cross exit icon here as well to close out, but I find that that's just another button to click. It's very clear that if they go through this, then it will change to a tick, and I find that from a user experience is more effective. Tabs are another way to display text, so you don't have walls of text on the slide. So tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, so you can see these are grayed out, they're in the background. This is in the foreground, it's a bit larger. We have our text. You can again have an image or an icon here to support that, to, you know, break up all that text on the slide. This is what tab 2 and then tab 3 would look like. And again, you can deactivate the functionality of the next button until everything has been clicked, if that's a mandatory obligation. And then towards the end, I'll create a couple of slides that are for quizzes. So this is for a single choice, multiple choice quiz. So answers 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, we're seeing the same consistent button being used. And then this graphic is interchangeable as well. Once they've selected an answer, this button is now grayed out, and then they've got correct, a nice tick here, and then can move on to the next slide. If it's incorrect, they can press try again, and then this resets this slide, or it goes back to making this submit button activated as well. Same over here as what I've got for the multiple response. So these are the tick options. So they would check the answers and then submit, and the same correct and incorrect slides would come up. And then finally, I have a congratulations slide. So this would be the end of the course. It would have your title, your text. Quite often I find clients will have links to their intranet or handbooks. Any resources can go there. Another option is that I could have a resources tab up here as well that can display external PDFs that they could download as well. So that's another option I could add up here actually. And then the exit button again looks like all the other buttons we've seen. This will exit out of the course, and then so will this. So either or, they will do the same action. Usually by just reaching this slide, the trigger of complete course will action. So exiting early won't be an issue with this, because that final slide usually will trigger completion of the course. And there you have it. That's what I would be working in Adobe Illustrator to create a suite of user interface slides and screens for approval from a client prior to going into the authoring tool to bring those to life. This is a really great practice for time management, client management, stakeholder management, and just overall general workflow when working on e-learning projects. And there you have it. I hope you found that really useful. I think focusing on those small graphic design little tweaks that you can do in your existing layout can make all the difference in delivering a really eye-catching, aesthetic and visually appealing piece in your portfolio or as an online published e-learning course. If you want more tips and tricks on working with instructional design, graphic design, multimedia, or any e-learning authoring tools, please subscribe to our channel because we love sharing our tips with you. Thanks guys, have a great day.